So this time up, with the Mini Cooper RSP now being up and running, I have noticed, whilst I was in the engine bay, a slight coolant leak from the radiator bottom hose. So I've got Jubilee clips on it at the moment, and it looks like it's holding, but obviously that hose needs replacing. The last thing that I want is for that hose to go while I'm out driving. So I'm going to replace the bottom hose on the Cooper RSP, and this hose, quite an expensive hose, quite an expensive piece of kit, because it kind of connects the bottom hose to the water pump, to the heater matrix, to the inlet manifolds. So it's quite a substantial piece of pipe work. So we're going to put that on, and then hopefully that'll cure the leak. And then we're ready for the road. So let's get cracking. So this is the hose that I'm fitting. So as you can see, it's quite an involved piece. So this connects to the bottom radiator, this onto the water pump, this onto the heater matrix, and then this feeds the heated inlet manifold for the carb. So that's it, and the part number, this is for Mini Spurs, it's GRH1159. And again, I had to be careful because I did order the wrong one of these. So this particular one, because it's the RSP 1990, this hose was only fitted to the RSP model. So Mini Cooper's 1990 to 91. The SPIs and the earlier ones are different. So if you're watching this video with a view to 90 to 91 RSP, just a flag, make sure you order the correct one, as I didn't. So as with most jobs on the Mini, a lot easier to do the job without the bonnet in place. If I had a penny for every time I've caught my head, and I'm sure every other Mini fettler would have done the same. It's fatal, so we'll get the bonnet off. So of course this is a non-standard bolt through there after the previous one sheared off. And to get better access, we'll remove the air filter box. Okay, so as you can see, the staining down there is where this pipe has been leaking from this joint. So that's why it's got to be replaced. All right, let's whip it off. And the bottom hose on the radiator, even though the Jubilee clips have been renewed, there's still a peg. Yeah, come off. And finally, there it comes. Right, so this is one that's come off. You can see where it's been leaking from that joint. But comparing the new one, this piece is taking a different path, and it's not joined. It seems to be integral there. Now I don't know whether this is standard original, but clearly that is is a straight 90-degree bend, and this one is taking a different path around the air filter. So I'll fit that on. I'll just make sure that that is taking the right path, and I'm assuming that this has been modified and this isn't standard, but as long as this fits okay without interfering with anything. But I think that is taking a different path between the manifold, the exhaust manifold, and the air filter box. So we'll offer this up and see what it looks like. Right, so let's get the new pipe on, and then we'll follow the path around and see what it looks like when it comes to the heater manifold, the connection that is different. Right, okay, let's try and get that bottom hose on first. Job and a half, that. So I've put a little bit of WD-40 just onto the entrance of the pipe, just to let that ease on. I find that makes it a little bit easier to get on, rather than trying to put that on dry. Right, it's the bottom hose on. I'm just wrestling with the water pump connection now. There we go. Water pump on. Bottom radiator hose on. Again, it's just the trick is getting the Jubilee clips positioned so that you can easily get your screwdriver on in the future. Okay, right. So this is what the new hose connection's looking like now in terms of connecting to the heater valve and connecting to the inlet manifold. So previously now this hose came here and then a 90-degree bend, whereas now it's looping round, down and underneath, so I'm assuming that doesn't make much difference. It's around the exhaust. I'll just have to check when I fit the air filter that there's no issue with anything catching. Okay, let's get this last one on. A little bit difficult one-handed, just a second. Right, new pipes in, everything's tightened up. I'll put some more antifreeze in, top her up, and that's should be job's a good one. Another thing fattled. Right, coolant's topped up. We'll just give it a run now, let it circulate. I'll leave the cap off just to let the air blockages vent, and then we'll see whether we're leak free. So we've got the air filter back on, and the pathway of the pipe work, a bit difficult to see, but it's going underneath this heater valve, round, and then onto the heater matrix. So even though it is a slightly different configuration than what I've took off and what was OEM, the replacement hose fits lovely. Right, okay, let's fire up and see what happens. Hopefully we're leak free. Okay. Still needs just a little bit of choke. Okay. Reconnect the overflow pipe. A little bit of steam coming from underneath, but I'm assuming that's where It's just burning off the old spillage. All the connections look okay. I'll just top up a little bit. Now that's dropped a little bit now that there's a volume circulated, so I'll top a little bit more up in there. Right, well, that's all looking good, so job done. So that's the bottom hose swapped over, so hopefully now that'll cure the leak, and should have trouble-free motoring now, any coolant loss. So yeah, a little bit strange that, in that the new replacement hose does differ from the OEM one in terms of the shape of the hose and the path that it takes, but clearly it does work. It does find its way around the underneath the valve and around the air filter. So yeah, it looks like the new one's, you know, a slightly different design from the original, but yeah, so interesting. So that's another job ticked off the list, and we're good to go.